We need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers.
Social justice, power word, power word, power word. Social justice, power word, power word, power word.
Good evening to our friends on the East Coast. Good afternoon to our friends on the West, and good in-between time to our friends in the in-between spaces. Welcome, 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 welcome to the virtual headquarters of the Byron Center for Social Justice. Welcome to the Social Justice Power Hour. I am Robert Seda Schreiber, the chief activist of the center, and your host for this evening, as I have been for over 300 some odd episodes, many of them very odd indeed. In fact, we have been here every single weeknight live since the pandemic started over a year ago, coming at you live, can't stop, won't stop, and will continue in the near and far future as long as we can gather together in virtual community. And tonight especially is a great night to be here with us at the Power Hour. We have our first Friday folk with our wonderful friend, David Brahinsky. A wonderful way to end the week after we've had some extraordinary guests, extraordinary conversations, meaningful and powerful. We had Amazon Latte on Monday night talking about Asian American community and how we can best be allies and move forward together, and also all the anti-trans bills that are across the nation, how we can best fight that together as well. And then we had Dr. Peniel Joseph, Black Power scholar, author of The Sword and the Shield, the dual biography of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and also, as we are proud to say, our board president here at the Byron Center for Social Justice. And last night we had Minda Hartz, who is the CEO and the author of the memo, how women of color can find a seat at the table, in fact, be at the head of the table. And all these conversations incredibly powerful. But now is the night that we come together as a community and ease into the weekend. And David always brings us such wonderful music and such incredible, thoughtful ideas and energy. So we're thrilled to have him at our virtual stage. But before we begin, we want to tell you what's coming up on the Power Hour, because as I said, we are here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So I want to make sure that you do tune back in, my friends, because I know that a lot of you come to see David and come to hear David, and rightfully so. So we'll hope you'll come back to the Power Hour too, as we have some extraordinary folks coming up. David F. Walker is an incredible comic book and graphic novelist of the Black Panther Party, Power Man and Iron Fist, and the Bitter Root, all folks of color, all superheroes who are Black and Indigenous and people of color. Very powerful stuff, and I look forward to that conversation with David. Surviving the White Gaze, Rebecca Carroll, extraordinary. Becoming Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss, there's so much controversy right now, so much conversation around Theodore Geisel. No one better to break it down for us than Brian J. Jones, his biographer. Ghost in a Black Girl's Throat. This is some amazing poetry, and we're going to have a recital with Kalisa Ray, and it's going to be really something special. Generation friends, as we've been home during the pandemic, we've all been binge watching, I know. One of the shows that we've been binge watching is Friends, and Saul Austerlitz is the author of the definitive book on Friends. He's going to talk about how, while we're doing this binge watching, we've been noticing some difficulties in the shows that we've always loved. Racial and social disparities, gender equality issues. So we're going to talk about that with Saul. It's going to be very interesting, I think, to look through a different lens of these things that we've been watching for so many years. Let the Lord Sort Them, The Rise and Fall of the Death Penalty. Maurice Shama is going to be with us from the Marshall Project. Very important stuff right now. Changing the Game. This documentary about transgender athletes in sports is incredible. And it's going to have its premiere on Hulu June 1st. And the night before, we're thrilled to welcome Shane Diamond, one of the folks behind the movie. David Camp is going to be here, and he's going to bring with us some friends. He is the author, of course, of Sunny Days, the children's television revolution that changed America. On the night before that book is released, paperback, he's going to be with us, bringing with him Bernadette Yao from Zoom, and Emilio Delgado, otherwise known as Luis on Sesame Street. That's going to be a hot one. You don't want to miss that one, my friends. Punch Me Up to the Gods. This book is going to blow up, and Brian Bloom's going to be with us to break it down for us. And finally, please do save the date, June 12th, Virtual Pride 21 coming back at you. Those of you with us last year, we had 10,000 folks join us in virtual community last year for Virtual Pride. It's going to be bigger, badder, and better, and more fabulous than ever. It's going to be co-hosted by Jill Sobule, Mike Hotpence, and Maurice Ruffin, all the way from New Orleans. It's going to be wonderful. Billy Porter is going to be with us. Wesley Stace is going to be with us. John Fetterman and Giselle Fetterman are going to be with us. Malcolm Kenyatta is going to be with us. It's going to be huge. Don't miss it. Put it on your calendar now, June 12th. And that's just some of the highlights coming up for you on the Power Hour. But tonight, of course, let us be serenaded. Let me leave this virtual stage and let me welcome our good old friend. And it's such an honor and a privilege. David, thank you for being with us again tonight.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, my friend.
Great. I can hear you too. Good.
Wonderful. So I will leave the virtual stage. I will give the stage over to our friend. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for always having First Friday folk for us and making me a true believer again in folk music. Have a good show, my friend.
Thank you. I'm going to start us off with a song that I wrote. I think of it as a meditation on the idea of path. I wrote it early in the morning. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning in the summer, and I was out on the porch, and the fog was so thick you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It's called The Early Morning Softness Blues. In my time, I'm gonna get there by and by. In my way, I'll be there today. Don't know where it is, don't care. Here today, gone tomorrow too. Here today, Lord, gone tomorrow too. I'll be on my way to another day. Fogs are swishing round, cannot hear a sound. Fogs are swishing round, cannot hear a sound. No one else can hear what there is for us to bear. But in my time, I'm gonna get there by and by. In my way, I'll be there today. I'm gonna see you there. Yes, I will. This is something from the Tao Te Ching of Lao Tzu. I call it Getting Unroiled. Long ago, the land was ruled with a wisdom too fine, too deep to be fully understood. And since it was beyond our full understanding, only some of it has come down to us, as in these sayings. Alert as a winter farer on an icy stream. Wary as a man in ambush. Considerate as a welcome guest. Selfless as melting ice. Green as an uncut tree. Open as a valley. And this one also, roiled as a torrent. Why roiled as a torrent? When a man is in turmoil, how shall he find peace? Save by staying patient till the stream clears. When a man is in turmoil, how shall he find peace? Save by staying patient till the stream clears. How can a woman's life keep its course if she will not let it flow? Those who flow as life flows know they need no other force. They feel nowhere, they feel no tear. They need no mending, no repair. Those who flow as life flows know they need no other force. They feel nowhere, they feel no tear. They need no mending, no repair. I think it's true. And here's something else from the same source, from the Tao Te Ching. Many of you know that this is the source for Tai Chi, Qi Kung, so many things that people are doing these days. I call it breath for men, or breath for us to draw from. There's breath for us to draw from, as we will. There's breath for us to draw from, as we will. And whether a man sees to the core, or passionately sees the surface, the core and the surface are essentially the same. And wonder names them both. Wonder names them both. People, through finding something beautiful, find something else ugly. When finding one man fit, find another the fool, the sanest man lays down no law. Lets love be judge, takes everything that happens as it comes. As it comes. Oh. By not advancing herself, she stays ahead. By not confining himself, is outside of himself. By not being an end in themselves, they endlessly become themselves. Become themselves. People at their best, like water, serves as we go along. Like water we love, living close to the earth. We love the sound of words that tell the truth. And for blocking no one's way, no one blames us. Yes, for blocking no one's way, no one blames us. There's breath for us to draw from, as we will. Yes. Yes, there is. All right, I'd like to do a story now from the Hasidic tradition, one of the traditions of mystical Judaism. And this is a story which features the Baal Shem Tov, the master of the name. In this story, he's only 14 years old. But there was another master who was dying, and he wanted to pass his teaching on. But his son, he didn't think was up to it, so he had his son send the writings down to where he'd heard that this young man, this 14-year-old, was. And that's how the story begins. It's called Conjuring. Before the time of the Baal Shem Tov, so they say, a wonder worker man by the name of Adam lived. No one knows just where, but it was probably in the imperial city of Vienna. Like the succession of wonder-working men before him, Adam was called Baal Shem, that is, the master of the name, because he knew the secret, full name of God, and could say it in such a way that with its help, he was able to effect strange things, and especially to heal people in body and soul. When this man knew that he was about to die, he did not know to whom to leave the age-old writings from which he had learned his secrets, the writings that had been handed down from Abraham, the patriarch. While his only son was a man both learned and devout, he was not worthy of a heritage such as this, and so Adam in his dream asked heaven what he should do, and was told to have the writings given to Rabbi Israel ben Eliezer in the city of Okup, who would then be 14 years old. On his deathbed, Adam entrusted his son with the errand. When his son reached Okup, he first found it difficult to believe that the servant in the house of study, who was regarded as a crude and ignorant boy, because he appeared to sleep both day and night and seemed never to study, was actually the Baal Shem Tov, the person he was looking for. It was not known by the local people that this boy, Israel, actually studied all night secretly, since he did not want his secret to be known as yet. Adam's son let the boy wait on him in the house of study, observed him closely and secretly, and soon realized that Israel was hiding his true character and preoccupations from the world. Now he told him who he was, gave him secret writings, and only asked that he might participate in studying them under the boy's direction. Israel consented, on the condition that their agreement remained secret, and that he continued to serve the stranger. Adam's son rented a small house outside the city and apart from others, and the people were only too glad to give him Israel for his servant. They thought, indeed, that this devout and learned man was willing to put up with the boy only because Israel's father had been a man of great merit and his mother had been a woman of great merit. Once Rabbi Adam's son asked the boy to conjure up the prince of the Torah, the aid of the directions given in the writings, so that they might ask him to solve certain difficulties in the teachings. For a long time, Israel refused to undertake so great a venture, but in the end, he let himself be persuaded. They fasted from Sabbath to Sabbath, immersed themselves in the bath of purification, and at the close of the Sabbath fulfilled the rites prescribed. But probably because Adam's son did not fix his soul utterly on the teachings themselves, an error crept in. Instead of the Prince of Torah, the Prince of Fire appeared and wanted to burn up the entire town. It was only by a great effort that it was saved. After a long time, Adam's son urged the boy to make another attempt. Israel steadfastly refused to do it again. It was obviously displeasing to heaven, but when his companion called on him in the name of his father, who had bequeathed the miraculous writings to the boy, he consented. Again they fasted from one Sabbath to the next. Again they immersed themselves in the bath of purification, and at the close of the Sabbath fulfilled the rites prescribed. Suddenly the boy cried out that they were condemned and would die unless they watched through the night with unflagging spiritual intentness. All night they remained standing. But when the day was just dawning, Rabbi Adam's son could not fight his drowsiness any longer and fell asleep on his feet. In vain, Israel tried to wake him. They buried him with great honors. Yes, they did. All right, what's next? Let me see here. Oh, yes. This is a poem from William Carlos Williams that I put to music. This is just to say, I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me. They were delicious, so sweet and so cold. This is just to say, I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you probably were saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. William Carlos Williams. All right. Next, I'd like to do a story that comes from the Sufi tradition, which is the esoteric or mystical tradition of Islam. This story, it's a bit of an epic, and it involves the king of Persia, the Shashin Shah, and the king of India, the Mughal, who were trying to work out some kind of a compromise so that they wouldn't attack each other. And so the Shashin Shah was going to send an ambassador, an emissary, to the Indian king to try to see if they could work things out. But all the nobles in the court all wanted to have that job, and the king was being driven crazy by the whole thing. And the hero of the story is Mullah Nasruddin, or Mullah Nasreddin, who plays both the fool and the wise man, the philosopher and the fool, and he's both at the same time, which I think is important. It's called His Excellency. By a series of misunderstandings and coincidences, Nasruddin found himself one day in the audience hall of the Emperor of Persia. The Shashin Shah was surrounded by self-seeking nobles, governors of provinces, courtiers, and connivers of all kinds. Each was pressing his own claim to be appointed head of the embassy, which was soon to set out for India. The emperor's patience was at an end, and he raised his head from the importunate mass, mentally invoking the aid of heaven in his problem as to whom to choose. His eyes lighted upon Mullah Nasruddin. "This is to be the ambassador," he announced. "So now leave me in peace." Nasruddin was given rich clothes and an enormous chest of rubies, diamonds, emeralds, and priceless works of art was entrusted to him, the gift of the Shashin Shah to the great Mughal of India. The courtiers, however, were not finished. United for once by this affront to their claims, they decided to encompass the downfall of the mullah. First, they broke into his quarters, stole the jewels, which they divided among themselves, replacing them with earth to make up the weight. Then they called upon Nasruddin, determined to ruin his embassy, to get him into trouble, and in the process to discredit their master, the Shashin Shah, as well. "Congratulations, great Nasruddin," they said. "What the fountain of wisdom, peacock of the world, has ordered must be the essence of all wisdom. We therefore hail you. But there are just a couple of points upon which we may be able to advise you, accustomed as we are to the behavior of diplomatic emissaries." "I should be obliged if you would tell me," said Nasruddin. "Very well," said the chief of the intriguers. The first thing is that you must be humble. In order to show how modest you are, therefore, you should not show any sign of importance. When you reach India, you will enter as many mosques as you can and make collections for yourself. The second thing is that you must observe court etiquette in the country to which you are accredited. This will mean that you will refer to the Great Mogul as the Full Moon. But is that not the title of the Persian emperor? Not in India. So Nasruddin set out. The Persian emperor told him as they took leave, "Be careful, Nasruddin. Adhere to etiquette, for the Mogul is a mighty emperor, and we must impress him while not affronting him in any way." "I am well prepared, Majesty," said Nasruddin. As soon as he entered the territory of India, Nasruddin went into a mosque and mounted the pulpit. "O people," he cried, "see in me the representative of the shadow of Allah upon earth, the axis of the globe. Bring out your money, for I am making a collection." This he repeated in every mosque he could find, all the way from Balochistan to Imperial Delhi. He collected a great deal of money. "Do with it," the counselors had said, "what you will, for it is the product of intuitive growth and bestowal, and as such its use will create its own demand." All that they wanted to happen was for the mullah to be exposed to ridicule for collecting money in this shameless manner. "The holy must live from their holiness," roared Nasruddin at mosque after mosque. "I give no account, nor do I expect any. To you, money is something to be hoarded after being sought. You can exchange it for material things. To me, it is part of the mechanism. I am a representative of a natural force, of an intuitive growth, bestowal, and dismemberment." Now, as we all know, good often proceeds from apparent evil, and the reverse. Those who thought that Nasruddin was lining his own pockets did not contribute. For some reason, their affairs did not prosper. Those who were considered credulous and gave their money became, in a mysterious way, enriched. But to return to our story. Sitting on the peacock throne, the emperor at Delhi studied the reports which couriers were daily bringing him, describing the progress of the Persian emperor. First, he could make no sense of them. Then he called his council together. "Gentlemen," he said, "this Nasruddin must indeed be a saint or a divinely guided one. Who ever heard of anyone else violating the principle that one does not seek money without a plausible reason, lest a wrong interpretation be placed upon one's motives?" "May your shadow never grow less," they replied. "O infinite extension of all wisdom, we agree. If there are men like this in Persia, we must beware, for their moral ascendancy over our materialistic outlook is plain." Then a runner arrived from Persia with a secret letter in which the Mughal spies at the imperial court reported, "Mullah Nasruddin is a man of no consequence in Persia. He was chosen absolutely at random to be ambassador. We cannot fathom the reason for the Shashin Shah not being more selective." The Mughal called his council together. "Incomparable birds of paradise," he told them, "a thought has manifested itself to me. The Persian emperor has chosen a man at random to represent his whole nation. This may mean that he is so confident of the consistent quality of his people that for him anyone at all is qualified to undertake the delicate task of ambassador to the sublime court at Delhi. This indicates a degree of perfection attained. The amazingly infallible intuitive powers cultivated among them. We must reconsider our desire to invade Persia, for such a people could easily engulf our arms. Their society is organized on a different basis than our own. You are right, superb warrior on the frontiers required, cried the Indian nobles. At length, Nasruddin arrived at Delhi. He was riding his old donkey and was followed by his escort, weighed down by the sacks of money which he had collected in the mosques. The treasure chest was mounted on an elephant, which was its size and weight. Such was its size and weight. Nasruddin was met by the master of ceremonies at the gate of Delhi. The emperor was seated with his nobles in an immense courtyard, the reception hall of the ambassadors. This had been so arranged that the entrance was low. As a consequence, ambassadors were always obliged to dismount from their horses and enter the supreme presence on foot, giving the impression of supplicants. Only an equal could ride into the presence of an emperor. No ambassador had ever arrived astride a donkey, and thus there was nothing to stop Nasruddin from trotting straight through the door and up to the imperial dais. The Indian king and his courtiers exchanged meaningful glances at this act. Nasruddin blithely dismounted, addressed the king as the full moon, and called for his treasure chest to be brought. When it was opened and the earth revealed, there was a moment of consternation. I had better say nothing, thought Nasruddin, for there is nothing to say that could mitigate this. So he remained silent. The Mogul whispered to his vizier, "What does this mean? Is this an insult to his highest eminence, me?" Incapable of believing this, the vizier thought furiously. Then he provided the interpretation. "It is a symbolic act, presence," he murmured. "The ambassador means that he acknowledges you as the master of the earth. Did he not call you the full moon?" The Mogul relaxed. "We are content with the offering of the Persian Shashin Shah, for we have no need of wealth, and we appreciate the metaphysical subtlety of the message." "I have been told to say," said Nasruddin, remembering the essential gift-offering phrase given him by the intriguers in Persia, "that this is all we have for your majesty." "That means that Persia will not yield one further ounce of her soil to us," whispered the interpreter of omens to the king. "Tell your master we understand," smiled the Mogul. "But there is one other point. If I am the full moon, what is the Persian emperor?" "He is the new moon," said Nasruddin automatically. "The full moon is more mature and gives more light than the new moon, which is its junior," whispered the court astrologer to the Mogul. "We are content," said the delighted Indian king. "You may return to Persia and tell the new moon that the full moon salutes him." The Persian spies at the court of Delhi immediately sent a complete account of this interchange to the Shashin Shah. They added that it was known that the Mughal emperor had been impressed and feared to plan a war against the Persians because of the activities of Nasruddin. When the mullah returned home, the Shashin Shah received him in full audience. "I am more than pleased, friend Nasruddin," he said, "at the results of your unorthodox methods. Our country is saved, and this means that there will be no attempt at accounting for the jewels or collecting in mosques. You are henceforth to be known by the special title of Safir, emissary." "But your majesty," hissed the vizier, "this man is guilty of high treason, if not more. We have perfect evidence that he applied one of your titles to the Emperor of India, thus changing his allegiance and bringing one of your magnificent attributes into disrepute. Yes, thundered the Shashin Shah. The sages said wisely that to every perfection there is an imperfection. Nasruddin, why did you call me the new moon? I don't know about protocol, said Nasruddin, but I do know that the full moon is about to wane and the new moon is still growing with its greatest glories ahead of it. The emperor's mood changed. Seize Anwar, the Grand Vizier, he roared. Mullah, I offer you the position of Grand Vizier. What? Said Nasruddin. Could I accept after seeing with my own eyes what happened to my predecessor? And what happened to the jewels and treasures which the evil courtiers had usurped from the treasure chest? That is another story. And as the incomparable Mullah Nasruddin has said, only children and the stupid seek cause and effect in the same story. That story, as well as some of the others that I've done, is from a book edited by Idrees Shah called The Incomparable Exploits of Mullah Nasruddin. This is a poem from Mary Oliver called The Honey Tree, which I put to music. So at last, I climbed the honey tree, ate chunks of pure light, ate the bodies of bees that I could not get out of my way. And yes, at last, I climbed the honey tree, ate chunks of pure light, ate the bodies of bees that I could not get out of my way. And so at last, I ate the dark hair of the leaves, the rippling bark, the hardwood, such frenzy. But joy that does that, I'm told, in the beginning. Later maybe, I'll come here only sometimes, and with a middling hunger. Later maybe, I'll come here only sometimes, and with a middling hunger. But now, I climb like a snake, I clamber like a bear, to the nuzzling place, to the light, salvaged by the thighs of bees and rat in the body of the tree. Oh, anyone can see how I love myself at last, how I love the world, climbing by day or night, in the wind, in the leaves, kneeling. Yes, anyone can see how I love myself at last, how I love the world, climbing by day or night, in the wind, in the leaves, kneeling. At the secret rip, the chords of my body stretching and singing in the heaven of appetite. Yes, at last, I climbed the honey tree, ate chunks of pure light, ate the bodies of bees that I could not get out of my way. Mary Oliver. This next tune is something I wrote based on a book by Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. It's the third in a series of books that he wrote called All and Everything. This one is entitled Life is Real Only Then When I Am. Life is real only when I am. Life is real only when I am. I can feel only when I am. Who can think when there is no one there to be? Who can think when there is no one there to be? And who can act when there is nothing with to see? And who can see on this Mother Earth? And who can be all that need is worth? Oh, my love, is this story sad? Oh, my friends, is this story bad? But life is real only when I am. And I can feel only when I am. Yes. This next tune I wrote, and it's based on a book by Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, called Zarathustra's. Actually, the book is called Das Sprach Zarathustra. Thus speaks Zarathustra. He's coming down from the mountain to teach, I guess, the people how to awaken or something like that. And I think of it as a product of my own meditation on the difficulties involved in communicating the Enlightenment experience. It's called Zarathustra's Descent. Zarathustra, or Zoroaster, was the prophet in Persia who brought the Zoroastrian religion, you might say, to that part of the world. Coming down the mountain top, the milkweed in my brain. How do you do, my mystery? I hear you are insane. Oh no, not I, the dark one said. Not I, not I, not I. I laughed and pulled his heart from him and threw it towards the sky. Where does my lonely heart now go? Ah, do you know, my friend? Not I said, I do not know, nor when this all shall end. Oh, end, who cares for you? Not I, not I, not I. I care for only lemon drops falling from the sky. But why would lemon please you, sir, when all you've had is gone? Oh, why should lemon please you, sir, when your poor life is done? Oh, do not ask why this is so, for the time it is not ripe. You'll not see the answer clear, not on this dark night. Life is cruel, I said to him as he entered my old room. Don't be a fool, he said to me, I'm going to be free. Oh free, what mystery to be free on this strange earth. I laughed and cried, my heart did break. I know what this is worth. You give me sight, you give me hope, you give what you have been. Ha ha, he sighed, ha ha, he cried, you think you still shall win. Oh win, who cares for you? I am what I must be. I sighed and sighed, but hunger's lie beat down on poor old me. Coming down the mountain top, the milkweed in my brain. How do you do, my mystery? I hear you are insane. Oh no, not I, the dark one said. Not I, not I, not I. I laughed and pulled his heart from him and threw it towards the sky. Zarathustra's Descent. All right, I'm going to finish up with a, it's actually a tribute to what Native Americans have given to our culture, and particularly to Deganawida, the composer, you might call it, the creator of the Great Law of Peace from the Iroquois Nation. I'm going to go a little over time, so this is a fairly epical piece. Iroquois, Huron, Algonquin, Creek, Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Seminole, Hopi, Papago, Pima, Tewa, Dakota, Lakota, Assiniboine, Crow, Kiowa, Arapaho, Cheyenne, Comanche, Apache, Navajo, Cree, Aleut, Chumash, Inuit, Ojibwa, Sioux, Micmac, Ahoda, Chumash, Yuma, Wampanoag, Pawnee, Fabiscans, Nescapi, Lenny Lenape. We are the children of Dagon Oeda. We are the children of his great law of peace. All peoples everywhere, living in harmony, righteousness and health, where violence will cease. They taught us so many things, those savages. Moose, caribou, raccoon, opossum, chipmunk, paracuda, manatee, cougar, puma, jaguar, terrapin, chigger, skunk, hickory, pecan, persimmon, mahogany, mangrove, maypop, mesquite, yucca, saguaro, maize, hominy, squash, avocado, pemmican, manioc, cassava, papaya, pawpaw, tapioca, succotash, bayou, savannah, pampas, hurricane, chinook, lizard, cigar, tobacco, potato, tomato, quina, curare, mezcal, peyote, moccasin, parka, anorak, toboggan, canoe, dory, tomahawk, maracas, caucus, burying the hatchet, playing possum, okay, Seattle, Yukon, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alabama, Texas, Mississippi, Arizona, Dakota, Kansas, Massachusetts, Illinois, Utah, Iowa, Wyoming, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, Connecticut, Ohio, Oregon, Kentucky, Texas again, Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Wabash, Ottawa, Osceola, Florida, Klamath, Sacramento, Kennebec, Erie, Huron, Shasta, Winnebago, Canada, Mexico, Chicago, Tallahassee, Tucson, Oswego, Appalachian, Allegheny, Adirondack, Taconic, Pocono, Shenandoah, Caribou, Deerfield, Massachusetts, Pontiac, Michigan, Pocatello, Idaho, Wabash City, Minnesota, Crazy Horse Creek, South Dakota. We are the children of Dagon Oeda. We are the children of his great law of peace. All peoples everywhere, living in harmony, righteousness and health, where violence will cease. From 1850 to 1869, the city of Los Angeles maintained an Indian slave market on Monday mornings. Cahokia, center of American commerce and farming, crossroads of America on the Mississippi, trading from Hudson's Bay to the Caribbean, larger than ancient Rome. The Atlantic forest, growing from Hudson's Bay to the Gulf of Mexico, from the Mississippi to the Atlantic Ocean. The people lived in an eternal wooden age, and they cared for it. Carefully managed fires controlled the forest for human use. Those barbarians controlled brush, insects, snakes, opening the forest floor, opening the Shenandoah Valley so the settlers could migrate in. And then there was Cloquet, Minnesota, October 12th, 1918, Columbus Day. There was a giant firestorm. People popped like popcorn from the heat. The whole town and region gone in a fire uncontrolled because the settlers had failed to learn forest management from the natives. Opening the forest floor. Oh, redwoods live 4,000 years. Redwoods live 4,000 years. The redwood forest goes back 20 million. The Inuit used dogs and dog sleds because a skidoo doesn't know the way home in a whiteout. The Mayans played a game like baseball as a sacred ceremony, symbolizing the holy creation of the world. The explorer Martin Frobisher brought a kidnapped Inuit hunter back to England, where his skill with the harpoon so thrilled Queen Elizabeth I that she invited him to harpoon her royal swans for the amusement of her court. And they did gathering and farming, pecans, hickory nuts, pine nuts, acorns, walnuts, pawpaw, maypop, sassafras, cranberries, maple syrup, ginseng, tomatoes, potatoes, squash, pumpkin, beans, peanuts, pecans, black walnuts, sunflower seeds, chocolate, vanilla, avocado, wild rice, sweet potato, turkey, and then the big one, corn. Growing corn in deserts, growing corn in swamps, growing corn on high slopes, growing corn on coasts. They developed the technology to grow over 1,000 different varieties of corn. They could grow it anywhere. The settlers learned some of this corn technology and eventually exported corn to the Caribbean, where it fed millions of slaves working on sugarcane plantations. And they ate native corn too. Corn chowder, cornbread, corn tortillas, corn tamales, hominy grits, fresh corn, popcorn, corn fed to chickens, turkeys, and pigs. The Europeans didn't especially like to eat Native American corn as such, but fell in deep love with corn-fed American lifestyle. Love that pork. We are the children of Daganawida. We are the children of his great law of peace. All peoples everywhere living in harmony, righteousness and health, where violence will cease. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, my friend. Another wonderful evening. What a perfect way for us to ease into the weekend after so much work we've all done and moved forward together. And David, it is always such a gift that you give us, these First Friday folk concerts, and we thank you, my friend. Have a great night.
Thank you.
So that is indeed First Friday folk, everybody. Such a thrilling evening. Thrilling, maybe not the right word. Such an evening of peace, such an evening of camaraderie, such an evening of community. And we thank you all for being with us, and we hope that you'll come back. The Power Hour is here, of course, every weeknight. Can't stop, won't stop. 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Always an extraordinary conversation, always an extraordinary concert, always an extraordinary community building moment for us all to be together. So thank you so very much. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Until Monday, much love and respect. Please be good to each other. Please be good to your families, chosen or otherwise. And please, most importantly, this weekend, take the advisement. Be good to yourselves. You need it, and we need you here with us.
We need in every community a group of angelic troublemakers.